what was always important to me is get as much data as you can get, and then you have to come up with a game plan. And the game plan may not be perfect. So if you accept it, it's not going to be perfect. I think I used the football metaphor yesterday, that you and Lisa are the offense, and the individuals, the group, is the defense. So how you proceed in your offense is all to do with what the defense will let you do. So you got to start somewhere. And I think it's, how did we always start? We started with acquaintance activities, right? De-inhibitizer activities. And those aren't just to have fun, but diagnostically, how people interact with those activities starts to inform you and Lisa about things you never would have known up front, ahead of it, right? So that gets back to that listen, learn, and remember. Really start taking it all in. What are you seeing that seems positive? Where are the dark areas? What are the areas that they're not even aware of and you're not aware of yet? So as we talked yesterday, it's people are fragile, you know, that I think I said debriefing is shining the light on the truth. And that's fucking scary for people. It really is. But it also can be scary for facilitators. Like, where do I go with this? How deep? Where do I push? Where do I back off? So, you know, you guys are the drivers of it, and make no mistake, the individuals are waiting and watching you, and they're trying to gauge for themselves by everything you say, everything you do, am I going to be safe with these people? Does that make sense? Yeah. So for me, it's how do you gather the information? It's great that you're all together now, first time. So let's get clear. They need to hear something, in my opinion, from you and Lisa of what I talked about, number one of the first question that you asked. My reply, number one, it's getting clarity and getting buy-in. Getting clarity and getting agreement of here's what we're here for. Here are the goals. You can share, you and Lisa can share your vision of the goals of why we're here and what the process is going to be and what we're going to do and what we're not going to do. They need to hear that structure from you and Lisa. And then you need to ask them, in my opinion, does that seem to resonate with you as a group? You're going to usually hear, yeah, but they don't know what the fuck they're really committed to, you know? They really don't. They heard your words. They understand English for the most part. So you're going to usually hear, yeah, that sounds about right, you know, so let's give it a go. But they don't know what the fuck they're getting into, you know? And you know that. And they don't, that gets back to that Johari's window theory in part. They don't really know what they're saying, you know, but they are waiting and watching you. And you can believe that there's that scary stuff. They kind of know this group stuff is scary, you know. I think they may never tell you that early on, but you can believe that it's scary.
Yeah.
And that's way too early for them to even say, I'm uncomfortable or I'm not sure. Particularly in a group, they're going to just echo what everyone says. Oh, this is great stuff. I'm happy to be here. Okay, well, that's a start. Resistance. At some level, there's going to be resistance. It may not be overt, but people are still waiting and watching, right? That's where, in my view, it's after you front load what the process would be, what the that kind of stuff, what the goals are for us to be together, and you're going to get that buy-in at some, you know, at some level. That's where you then have to start asking good, effective questions. The effective questioning allows people to start their own reflection to give you more information. So the effective questions, that's where the backstage homework that you and Lisa do to say, okay, given the circumstance, how we're going to meet with these people, what are the key questions that we need to ask each in the group, if it's only as a group that you're meeting with, or focus groups prior, or if none of that pre-work can happen with them, what are the effective questions that one would ask after they've heard that front-loaded stuff from you guys? Those effective questions start to put in play. That's the beginning of the hard work. What you're asking them is to reflect on what their thoughts are of what they want, what they don't want. You'll hear more early on. Generally, what do you hear? You'll hear, I don't mean to say surfacey, but you'll hear some stuff about, well, I want to be better at debriefing, or I want to be better at some of the stuff we're talking about, when to push, when to back off. You know, just hear it. And let's just not role play this, but if someone said, well, I don't really know where to start, and I don't really know if I see something and I think someone's in denial, or the group is in denial, should I ask about that? Or, and that's where your read is, are they ready? Are they ready? No telling, but on your part or Lisa's part, no telling, but say, well, it's an interesting thing that you're asking of about that. What do you think you need? Follow the interest of the learner. I guess that's how I would say it. And you're never not going to know the interest of the learner until you start asking those good questions.
Yeah.
If you fall into that, well, let me tell you, then they just have to listen, you know, they don't have to do anything but listen to you rather than learn to listen to themselves, and rather than to put it out there for other members in the group to hear it. I don't know if I'm answering your question, but in my mind, it always starts with focusing in on great questions that in a supportive way, ask people to not just tell you and Lisa, but they're telling themselves,
Yeah.
what the fuck am I here for? You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
And each debrief is the initiative by itself. So now you put the toys away, and now it's the talking stuff. And that can be fun depending on the debriefing tool you use. So you're still balancing the fun with the seriousness. So depending on the debriefing tool that you use, starts to give you more information. Gives you and Joe more information, but it's also giving each individual more information on him or herself. And it's giving more information to the other members of the group. So that's where that Johari's window box comes in, of that what I know about myself that others now are starting to know. But in your wisdom, you know, there's still a lot more stuff that's hidden, where stuff that I still know about myself, but I'm not ready to have other people learn about that. And then you get into that third quadrant later on, things I don't know about myself and others don't know. And that's really the goal of the work, I think, is getting in touch with, first and foremost, and it works back to the trust issue. Do I now trust the facilitators of this group, and do I trust the other members in this group? Then I can show more of myself, and it's safe to do that, and it's okay to do that. Developing trust with people, such a fragile commodity. you know, very hard to achieve and very easy to lose. A few missteps and you're back to square one, and the person is back to square one. So what's the ultimate goal in part, without getting too shrinky about this, with the group you're going to work with or groups that you're going to work with, it's always cool for people to start revealing more about their perceived inadequacy about being facilitators. But that's the stuff that if they can keep defining that, of it gets back to, here's what I'm in touch with, and here's what I know now that I need to learn. I think the people that you're going to be working with, they have their sense of inadequacy. They know what they're fearful of. It's going to take time. I think when you really look at trying to be a good facilitator, I guess my point is we also have to look at ourselves and to say, what am I not so cool with myself?